we'll also talk about diet culture and why it's so dangerous for moms. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
This diet culture has definitely turned into like a buzzword, and I don't know if everybody knows exactly what it means. If you're looking for like an all encompassing, I'll use that word again. If you're looking for like a definition that I think is just super wonderful, look up Christy Harrison, who is a dietitian who just wrote and came out with a book called Anti-Diet. She has like a wonderful definition of what diet culture means, because I feel like when I'm explaining it, I always like leave a little something out, but really in short, what it is the messages around us telling us that, you know, somehow our lives would be better if we were thinner. It glorifies thinness. It tells us that thinness is attainable for everybody if you just tried hard enough. And all of these messages around us that just say that we are not good enough unless we look a certain way. And you should be really fearful of foods that cause weight gain, or foods that are high in this or that. And so it really like demonizes some foods while elevating these other foods. And then it just makes you super stressed out about what you're going to eat, when you're going to eat. It's this very just harmful message that is really just, it damages your self-worth so much, because you cannot follow these rules forever. So eventually, if you do start a diet, you're going to have to stop at some point, or you fail, quote unquote. And then it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. Why didn't I have enough willpower to be able to continue with that diet? When really the diet was always going to fail. It's not you that failed. They fail, and then they blame you for failing. It's really just super toxic.
Right. Yeah, no, I see that all the time with, you know, these new diet fads and trends coming out. And again, like with the Facebook group, I see different moms posting about different like trends. I won't name any to call anyone out, but I see different trends in there where it's like super harmful, because they're like, oh, can't eat this, can't eat this, can't eat this. And I'm like, you just had a baby 6 weeks ago. Don't you want to just, you know, like focus on making yourself happy in this time instead of restricting?
Yeah. And, you know, I think another thing that's so harmful about diet culture is that it brings like this morality or like ethics into food. So it makes you feel like you are a good person if you are eating salad and vegetables and organic and clean and whatever else. Like, it's like, oh, what a wonderful, good, moral person. And then if you're not doing that and you're like going through the drive-thru, or you have a piece of cake, they're like, oh, that's bad. Tisk, tisk for you. And it's horrible. It's horrible. But I think that it's really nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault who goes down that road, because I think it is so seductive that I don't blame anybody. I mean, I used to be very, very much into that too, until I became a dietitian and like learned all the things that I've learned.
So what like initially made you want to become a dietitian? Like, and then did you like, so you said it kind of like changed your mind once you learned a little bit more. So like, what kind of started you on that journey? And then like, what kind of made you change your mind about some things?
I became a dietitian when I was very much obsessed with weight and food and all of those things. I think it was just that time in my life where I had to pick something, and that sounded good. So I picked that so I could learn more and like become this super perfect eater, even though perfect eaters don't exist. And so I did. I went to school, and unfortunately, at least back then, school was kind of diet culture focused. They did preach a lot of those messages. And then after school, I worked at a WIC center, and I think WIC is wonderful. I think it helps so many women. I like, I'm really not talking bad about WIC. I do think, at least my experience was a lot of diet culture messages again. And so I was at a point in my life where I was young, I didn't have kids, and I was like, so I just go to work every day. Like, I don't think I want to do that. So I like did something crazy, and I joined the Peace Corps. So I went and lived in Nepal, and I worked as a health volunteer. And I think that was really when like my interest in helping women started, just because the women there were just so motivational. And I became pregnant while I was in Nepal. So then I came back home, and I was a single mom. I just had a baby. Life was really hard. And still all of those diet culture messages were in my mind. Still, I was very much into like my body needs to look a certain way. I need to eat a certain way. But I think what really helped me the most was I took a job working with people struggling with eating disorders. And that was when it became very clear to me that these messages are not only like totally inaccurate, they're super harmful. And so I think it was just a combination of just being a mom, being really inspired by women, and then my eating disorder experience where I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And so now I do what I do today.
That's awesome. Yeah, to be able to see it firsthand, because I think a lot of us don't see all those sides, you know, like we might hear of someone or see it on TV, but to actually be immersed in it and understand like the harm that, and actually see the harm that it can cause in many different women, I think is very powerful.
Yeah, incredibly eye-opening, incredibly sad. And sometimes when I do run across messages on Instagram or wherever of a doctor promoting a certain diet pill or weight loss program, I like my heart just breaks because I just know somebody's reading that and really being affected by it in such a negative way. And I don't know that the people who are selling those things and promoting those products ever really get to see that side of the damage that happened because of it.